Oh, what's up, you guys? How you doing? Okay. Let me just come out right out the gate and say, if you are going to be offended by my language, or if you're going to be offended and are easily offended by talk of like sexual things, then this is your time to exit. We're all grown up in here, and let's face it, everybody's grandma sucked at least one dick. All right. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here because your mama wouldn't have been here. Everybody's mama sucked one dick too. All right. So fast forward. Let's talk about narcissism and VD as well as STIs and BV, okay? I know that a lot of times people have gotten and contracted BV and certain STIs. You know, STIs, by the way, for those who don't know, are not the same as STDs. STIs are sexually transmitted infections, whereas STDs are sexually transmitted diseases. It's BV, bacterial vaginosis, is very different from waking up with chlamydia, bitch. Okay? Very different. But anyway, moving forward, a lot of times when you are dealing with a narcissistic individual and you don't yet know it, some of the telltale signs, because see, everybody that's a narcissist isn't going to come out the gate and just be a dick to you. You know what I mean? Everybody's not going to just harbor those traits that I've made well over 300 videos of, okay? Some people are so covert with it that sometimes you have to rely on your own body and the signs that your own body is giving you to let you know that something is wrong with them. You know what I'm saying? Let's go over some of those signs, but I want to focus on once you are intimate with them. These are some of the signs that you're going to start seeing possibly within your body that's telling you what they're not letting you know visually and physically or verbally, okay? One of those signs is BV. If you're a dude and you don't have a vagina, obviously, sometimes you won't be able to detect it as much, but I've heard cases where your dick can stink, your balls can stink, and it ain't from playing sports. It's not from playing a mean game of basketball. It's who you're with, where that, where those, like, you know, juices or whatever soak into the skin, and it causes that area to smell really bad no matter like what you do. That's an indication that it's the person that you are with, okay? So I just want to give some relief to some of you guys that might have gone through that or have been going through that, and you thought that it was you. It might have been happening to you, but it wasn't because of you. Low key, though, a narcissist will try to insult you when they have given you something because they know that they gave it to you and they know that you're oblivious to that fact. And so another way for them to feed off of your emotions, you know, of course, especially the bad ones, they really love that, right? That jumps like a Ferrero Rocher to them. A really beautiful piece of chocolate with the crunch outside. Yeah, they love when you don't feel good, right? And they love sitting back and watching you not feel good and waiting to see if you remotely suspect them of it. They get a real kick out of giving you things that you contracted from them, and then watching you try to Sherlock Holmes your way to the truth. They love that shit. Okay, that's number one. So sometimes whenever you've gotten it, I'm sure the narcissist says, ew, like it's happened to me when he was like, oh, you smell bad. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm using like regular soaps. I'm not doing this. I'm using, you know what I'm saying? And you have zero idea. I eat right. I'm doing this. I'm not doing that. I know I'm not cheating. I have no idea what's happening to me. What's happening to me? They love that because they know that what's happening to you is them. They are happening to you. They know that you smell weird and stank down there because they were somewhere weird and stank. They went balls deep and went raw into a prostitute or the same sex or whatever it is in anybody's dirty asshole or crotch or whatever, they were looking all up in that. They were going raw dogging in that. And they came straight home, didn't wash their nuts, didn't wash their vagina, and hopped right onto you with a straight face. Yes, that shit people do all the time. Not only do they do it all the time, they do it on purpose because they like to see people hurt. Narcissists don't share anything, number one. They don't share shit with you. They won't share their money, their time, their attention, food, a lot of things with you. But one thing they will share is misery. They love it. They will share STDs with you like it ain't shit. They'll share STIs with you like it ain't shit. They'll share misery with you like it ain't shit. They'll share VD with you like it ain't shit. They'll share BV with you like it ain't shit. Because to them, you ain't shit. Okay? And usually they're in deep shit because of some shit they did. So I guess shit is the word of the day. The word, Sesame Street, the word of the day, Big Bird, is shit. Okay? So, backtracking to when I was with my son's dad, because number one, you can always look at my stories and go, well, how were you involved with so many narcissists? First of all, everyone that's ever made it to this channel or anybody else's channel and you think that you've been involved with just this one narcissist, no, baby. That's just the last one you've been involved with. When you look, hindsight being 2020 for real, you've been involved with narcissists for a while back to back. You just didn't know what it was. You just didn't realize there's a pattern in that. You knew something was back to back wrong, but you never would have equated it to that, because more than likely you didn't even know what narcissism was until this last one that did something so bad that it caused you to go on the internet to try to find other people who experienced that piece of shit thing that you experienced. That's the only reason why people even find out what narcissism is. That last one was so bad that you're like, there's got to be somebody else out there in the ethers that have experienced what I experienced. I cannot be alone on this one, right? Anyway, so looking back to when I was in my first narcissistic relationship that is not a parental one with my dad, I was with my son's father, okay? And I didn't even know what the DL was on that at that point in time. I hadn't even heard of something like that. The DL was fairly new, not new to society, but new as far as like a term that was openly discussed within society, okay? So I had never heard of that. All I knew is that I was seeing things that were off to me in my spirit. Your spirit will tell you when something doesn't feel right. Your spirit will tell you what the media won't, okay? So whenever you get a twinge, that twinge, don't brush it off like Tinkerbell on Peter Pan's shoulder, baby. You embrace that twinge and go, yeah, if I feel like that about that, that's a problem. So in Richmond, I moved to Richmond, Virginia to be with my son's father, right? And this is before I was pregnant. And I told you guys in other videos that there were two neighbors downstairs. There was a couple, Sharon and Rick. Rick sold weed, didn't do shit, didn't work. Sharon was a college student and did work because we worked at a coffee shop together. My dude worked, but he liked hanging out with Rick a lot, right? Mind you, watch out. Just pay attention to, if you're with someone, what are their friends like? Are their friends losers? If they have even one friend that's a piece of absolute shit, that they just really like hanging out with that friend, then that person you're with is an absolute piece of shit. Period. Because no winner in life, nobody who cares about life or God or anything like that, they will never hang out with a loser. They would never. They'll pray for their ass, but they ain't going to kiki with them. Okay? Remember that. So him and Rick would hang out all the time. And that's the guy that I said would always, whenever I'd wake up on a Saturday, it'd be like 9 in the morning. This dude already upstairs in our apartment, right? So anyway, he would hang out with Rick a lot. And there would be times, and this is one thing I want you to take note of. Write that shit down if you need to. There'd be times where Rick would say, hey, he'd bring his girlfriend Sharon upstairs, and he would say, why don't you ladies hang out together, and us boys will go out and we'll pick up food, or we'll pick up beers, or we'll like we're just gonna go for a ride and just kick it and have some man time, just talking, right? Being boys, right? And of course, society trains us women to accept that boys will be boys, boys will be boys, and let a man be a man. So they have to have their time together, right? So you're not gonna question that openly, right? Not if you're trying to be like Miss Betty Crocker, Miss June Cleaver, right? So when they would do that, which was like on occasion, not a lot, but on occasion, they would be like, yeah, we're just gonna ride out and chill together and go do stuff together as dudes. Y'all two ladies kick it, right? What that really is code for is we're gonna go fuck each other in secret, and we're gonna pose it as y'all need to be ladies and we just need to be guys, or vice versa. If you're a dude and your girl's like, I'm just having a girls' night or whatever, and y'all just chill, and they try to push like their friend's man and on you. Whenever they try to push their friend's significant other on you, so that their friend's significant other can occupy your attention and time, it's so that you're so hung up and tied up with that friend's girlfriend or boyfriend that you don't stop to notice that they've been gone for a while now, relieving themselves inside of each other. Okay? That happened again. I can back myself up because that happened again with my last relationship, where his best friend, who's a dude, would come over with his so-called girlfriend, who eventually I found out was trans and was really a dude, and would push that transsexual girlfriend on me as, you two ladies hang out while we go grab brewskis or whatever, and while we like walk and go do this or pick up this from the grocery store, when really they were dipping into the cut, getting in each other's butt. Alright? So that was really happening, okay? Whenever somebody tries to push their friend's spouse or significant other on you, be like, nah, bitch, I'm good. We can go together. Why don't you pop your bitch in the car? I'll get in the car. And we can all go do that shit. You know what I mean? Because no, if they insist that y'all stay behind, they're fucking each other, okay? So here's where the shit hit the fan. Pun absolutely intended. When we were, it was like nighttime. We were about to be like intimate. We were getting intimate, and I was about to perform fellatio. Just to be polite to you guys, I'll call it fellatio. Girls and guys, when I got down there, this was the first time ever that I could not do it. And the reason why I couldn't do it is because I ran into the worst smell I've ever, it was the most foul smell I've ever smelled in my entire life. And looking back, I can pinpoint it, but then I couldn't pinpoint it. I knew that it smelled like shit. I knew it smelled like feces, but not like when you take a dump, not like that. It was like, and now I can only describe it as a festering wound, like an open wound, and it was radiating from his butthole, right? Like blood, like fresh blood that had been exposed through the skin for a few hours, not a few days. But like if you had gotten a wound and it had been a few hours, like a real bad wound where like the skin was like peeling off and stuff like that, it smelled like the way a really bad puncture wound would smell if it had been only a few hours of your skin trying to pull itself together and heal, mixed in, blended in with the inside of a rectum, because this was coming radiating out of his anus. It was radiating out of his asshole, right? Like his taint, all of that. It just had this horrendous smell, as if you didn't wipe really well after you took a shit, blended with a festering open wound. And like I could smell like blood. I knew when I smelled it, it was blood, but it was mixed in with that. Yeah, is that gross? Yes, but that is exactly what I was smelling, right? And I was just like, I remember being under the covers like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? And when I pulled the covers back over my head and looked up at him, he was looking right at me like, almost like I want you to approach me about this. I want you to say something to me about this. I want to know that you know. I like that you are in a position right now to question whether or not you should even speak to me about this shit. Because I did get fucked by the neighbor ferociously. That neighbor ripped my asshole all the way open. That's what he was saying to me with his eyes. That neighbor, that girl's boyfriend downstairs, literally shredded his asshole, my fiance's asshole, all the way up. And he enjoyed wearing the bloody ring around his ass like a trophy. Because at some point, when you're about to get discarded, they love and enjoy rubbing literal shit in your face. They love rubbing it in your face. They start to intentionally get sloppy so that you can find clues. And that backtracking after that, I start to think about all the scenarios in which I got random yeast infections. I wasn't getting it from the soap. I'm buying baby soap to wash my clothes in and hypoallergenic body bars and all this shit. And it wasn't the soap irritating my vagina. It was the shit that I couldn't see on his dick. Anyway, so yeah, if you experience frequent things like a yeast infection or BV, or for guys, whatever that is, or jock itch or whatever it is, don't be equating it, if you're with someone, to it just being you. If it's consistent, when it keeps happening like that, it's not you. And you need to get the fuck out of there. Alright? Because narcissism and BV go hand in hand. And if you want to say everybody who's a cheater ain't a narcissist, no, bitch. Everybody who's a cheater is a narcissist. You know why? Because it only takes somebody with at least some narcissistic tendencies to be able to hurt somebody with intention and have fun doing it, and then come back and give them a potential disease or a sexually transmitted infection, or don't give them anything but just linger around them and sleep next to them, knowing full well that they have betrayed them, like Judas. Nobody that is a believer in God could ever do that to another person. No decent person could do that. So yeah, and it also made me remember a time where he had gone off to talk to a doctor friend of his that he used to work with, because my ex was a nurse. And he was still friends with the doctors that he worked with, and calling a favor in for a prescription because he had gotten a bladder. Well, I thought it was he got a, what do they call it? UTI. He got a UTI, and I'm thinking, well, damn, some people get UTIs. It was the shit inside of his dick hole that gave him a UTI, and he didn't want to talk to me, talk to the doctor in front of me. Like he made sure he went, he would walk away and talk to the doctor, and the doctor did send him a prescription or whatever, okay? But after I smelled that and I found out that he was sleeping with a neighbor, he could tell that I was catching on. That's when the discard came, and that's when I looked back and I said, oh, that's what the yeast infections were from. That's what that was coming from. So anyway, I'm sure you guys have already recognized those things, but for those of you who are new to this game, because it is a game, start playing chess, not checkers. And if you start getting frequent, whatever it is that's happening to you, it ain't you, baby. It's that motherfucker right there. All right. Anyway, love you. Have a great Sunday. And I hope this helps somebody out there. Okay? Bye.